Thanks for following my channel and watching my videos. Please share and subscribe. If you have any questions, you can text me by Instagram and Facebook, Ameera al-Asadi. Today we're going to explain how we're going to find tan 135 degrees. In Arabic, بالعربي هو ظل 135 درجة. Sine 45 degrees, cosine 45 degrees, tan or tangent 45 degrees. Sine 30, cosine 30, tan 30. Sine 60 degrees, cosine 60 degrees, tan 60 degrees. يعني اليوم راح نشرح ظل 135 وجيب تمام وظل هذه الزوايا. Find tan 135 degrees. We know that we have tan 90 plus x equals negative cotan x. Tan 135 degrees equals tan 90 plus 45. If we add up 90 plus 45, we're going to have 135 degrees, which equals negative cotan 45 degrees. So, which is same as this rule, negative cotan 45 degrees. Tan 135 degrees equals negative 1 over tan 45 degrees, which equals negative 1 over 1. So let's explain this step. Tan 135 degrees equals cotan x is 1 over tan x, means the opposite of tan x. So I have cotan 45 equals 1 over tan 45 according to this step. And I already have negative, so I'm going to put it down. Now I have equals negative 1, the top is 1, and the bottom tan 45. Tan 45 degrees equals, that's 45 degrees, so equals 1. Now tan 135 degrees equals negative 1, because 1 over 1 equals 1. cotan x معناتها بالعربي ظل تمام ها. So if we look at this triangle, this angle is 45, 45, and 90. So this is a right triangle. So the sides are 1, 1, and square root 2, the hypotenuse. So tan 45 degrees equals the opposite over the adjacent. The opposite يعني المقابل على المجاور equals 1 over 1, which equals 1. So if I look, this is 45. So the opposite is 1. This is the opposite. And the adjacent is 1, 2. Now I have 1 over 1, which equals 1. So tan 45 degrees equals 1. And I already know cotan x equals 1 over tan x. This is just a note. Tan x equals sine x over cosine x. Cotan x, I'm going to flip this fraction. So when I flip it, I'm going to have cosine x over sine x. It means tan x and cotan x are the opposite. يعني احنا ظل الزاوية x هو عبارة جيب على جيب تمام x. وظل تمام x كوتان يعني ظل تمام x يساوي لنا جيب تمام x على جيب x. يعني هذا لو أريد أكتبه هذا عبارة عن ظل تمام الزاوية x تجيب معنا c، وهنا يجيب معنا ظل الزاوية c. To find sine 45 degrees, cosine 45 degrees, tan 45 degrees. راح نوجد قيم هذه الدوال المثلثية. So I have this triangle 45, this is a right triangle. This is 90 degrees. And these two angles 45 degrees and 45 degrees. And the sides are 1. So I always start from the sides. 1 square root 2 square root 2 1. Sine 45 degrees equals the opposite over the hypotenuse. We always opposite means OPP, hypotenuse HIP, hype. So يعني هذا يعني المقابل على الوتر اللي هو جيب. ساين يعني جيب 45. Sine 45 degrees. So if I look at at 45 degrees, so the opposite, which is 1 over the hypotenuse, square root 2, square root 2. So now I have 1 over square root 2. Cosine 45 degrees equals the adjacent over the hypotenuse. يعني المجاور على المقابل، وهذا هو جيب تمام. هذا هو جيب تمام 45 درجة، وهذا هو جيب 45 درجة. Cosine 45 degrees equals the adjacent, it's 1, and the hypotenuse square root 2, which equals 1 over square root 2. So now we just found the values of sine 45 degrees, cosine 45 degrees, and we should find tan and tan 45 degrees. So for tan means tangent 45 degrees, which is the opposite. So we need a new paper. The opposite over the adjacent. So to find tan 45 degrees equals tan يعني ظل الزاوية 45 هو المقابل عن المجاور, which is the opposite over the adjacent. Now the opposite, so this is 45, the opposite is 1 and the adjacent is 1, which is 1 over 1, so equals 1. It means tan 45 degrees equals 1. To find tan, sine, cosine, tan for 30 degrees and 60 degrees. I have this triangle. This is a right triangle, and this angle's 60 degrees and the other one 30 degrees. So the sides are 1, 2, the hypotenuse, and square root 3, the other side. I know sine x, cosine x, and tan x. So I should know sine x equals the opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine x equals adjacent over hypotenuse. Tan x equals opposite over adjacent. Now the question is find these values. Sine 30 degrees. Sine 30 degrees, I know sine equals opposite over hypotenuse. So that's 30. Opposite over hypotenuse means 1 over 2, which is 1 over 2. Cosine 30 degrees. Cosine, that's 30. The adjacent is square root of 3 over the hypotenuse 2. So cosine 30 degrees, square root of 3 over 2. Tan 30 degrees, which is the opposite over the adjacent. The opposite is, that's 30. The opposite is 1. The adjacent is square root of 3. For 60 degrees, sine 60 degrees, same thing. 60 is the opposite over the hypotenuse, which is square root of 3 over 2. Cosine 60 degrees. 60 degrees, this is the angle 60 degrees. Cosine 60 degrees is, if I look at the cosine, is the adjacent over the hypotenuse, which is 1 over 2, 1/2. Tan 60 degrees. Tan means the opposite over the adjacent. So that's 60, the opposite of it, so which is square root of 3 over 1. It means square root of 3. So that's square root of 3 over 1. It means equals square root of 3.